where we talk all things agriculture and farming, as it were. And today, definitely no different. A story that really, I think, embodies the spirit of Madiba Month in many ways. We look at illegal dumping and we know that it has become a major problem. And I'm going to use South Africa as an example. It's a huge problem here. And many communities, are taking back those spaces and making a difference, if you will, much like a community that we discovered in Eldorado Park. And they've decided they're going to stop illegal dumping and do something different. An abandoned dumping site has been transformed into a thriving community farm through the Food for the Hood initiative, and it's now producing fresh vegetables, creating jobs, and helping to improve food security in that particular area. So we're going to find out more about what inspired this project and how it's changing the lives of the community members. And it's such an honor and a privilege to speak to a gentleman who is really heading this project, as we noted. David Timothy Zacheus is joining me in his capacity as the founder of the Food for the Hood Community Farming Project. So wonderful to talk to you, David. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, and hello to everyone watching.
Thank you very, very much. I was born and raised in a neighboring township of Eldorado Park. I was born in Soweto. So I know that anyone that comes from Soweto, anyone that comes from Eldorado Park, and any of the other neighboring townships, listen, we will find the solution. Even if it takes us
Absolutely,
long,
yes.
we will find the solution, and we're just so amazing at being creative. Let's talk about this project. I'm very excited to find out about the genesis of the idea for Food for the Hood. Why did you decide, okay, no more dumping side? We're going to turn this into a proper thing.
Well, over the years, many municipal spaces, there's always this tractor that comes to clean up the dump, and then a week or 2 days after, people start dumping again. So
Mm-hmm,
this has been
mm-hmm,
happening over years in the space. And there's an organization called We Are Our Sisters Keepers, which is run from my mother. They have a feeding scheme program where kids come to be fed right not far from where the dump used to be. And
mm-hmm,
obviously, having had to feed children in a space where there's so a dumping close by, it's not hygienic, it's not safe. So there was a June 16 specific, I think 3 years ago, where a team from Ignite Ministries came with a cleaning project, decided, okay, you know what, before the tractor even comes, let us use this day to start cleaning up and start creating awareness for people
mm-hmm.
to come and join, and like in a communal effort to clean up the space and to keep it clean. So after the space has been cleaned, also with having challenges with staying consistent with the feeding scheme, not always having sponsors to feed some, to send some food and all those things, we came up with the solution and said, you know what, this space, people keep on coming back here to come and dump. So it's no use we're gonna have campaigns where people come and spend days cleaning up, putting everything in plastics, and then it just ends up to 2 days after we still just start dumping again. And so
Yeah.
the initiative came where we said, you know what, let's plant some food. There's another lady, Natasha. I also work very close with her. She
Mm-hmm,
was already starting on the opposite side where the land is, the space is quite big. So before the space was utilized as one, she was already beautifying the space on her side and making sure that there's some vegetables growing. And then as we started looking at the fertility of the soil that used to be a menace, we decided, you know what, we need to start fencing off this area you know.
mm-hmm,
And we tried asking the government to come out and say, okay, please, we need a tractor now to come and clean up or to help us clean. And the
mm.
same tractor that was available to clean all over the years was not available. So all the work we had to do manually. But
Wow.
more members of the community were sparked and saying, okay, you know what, let's start coming. In the beginning, we had some spinaches plant right there and some beetroots. And some people, they would walk past and take a chance to take it, and then they steal it and run away. But
Mm, mm,
that's just the challenges that we had to face in the beginning until we started asking people, don't you have some fencing laying around at home? Let's start closing the area so that people don't come to dump where the usual dumping spot used to
mm.
be. And it was a very, very tough process because not many people in the community is willing to work with no money or with no promise of anything or just
Mm,
to make the world better. It's a thing where you really need to make a sacrifice and saying enough is enough. We need to spend at least 1 year consistently in this space to completely eradicate the dumping site. So by the grace of God, we've managed to survive in this time. Me personally, also, my personal job and everything that I had, I literally had to put all that aside and saying,
mm.
what is in our community that we can use to make our community better? And that's where this whole thing started when we decided, let's turn this dumping site into a food source for the community.
This is absolutely amazing. And I'm thinking back to many years ago, close to 15 years ago, when we're having many deliberations around food gardens and townships, and we're hitting brick walls.
Yeah.
And man, this makes me so happy to see that young people are taking the power back, so many
Yeah.
years later, over a decade later, and really making doing the work again. Let's talk about that, because I'm feeling excited and sad at the same time that you didn't get the right support from, at government level, but you still made sure that you're going to do this work. What did it actually take, um, in terms of, because I think you're going beyond farming. This is now, um, community organization, which is a very tough thing to do and be successful at, organizing a community and branding it into something else that has got nothing to do with gangsterism and all the other terrible things that we get to see at the in the corners of our townships. How were you able to conscientize people to start thinking, in this way, to say, guys, this is going to benefit everybody?
So I think consistency from my side personally, that was the key. Ever since the first day I laid a spade or a fork into the ground, I done it regardless of who's watching, regardless of who's saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
this went on for months, for months on end. Like I said, there's a lady, Natasha. She's 50 years old now, and she's my best friend in the garden.
Mm.
And she would also just always be there, working alone on her own, growing on a small scale for a household and so on. And then just the consistency going every day. People would walk past saying, "Hey, this guy, we wonder what he's busy with,"
Hey,
and
this guy.
sometimes the kids would
Yeah.
come from school and then the kids and be like, "Yo, guys, please come help me water."
Yeah.
First, there was like 5 or 7 beds, garden beds, and I had some seeds growing in. And as
Mm.
time went on, they saw now 12 beds now. Every day now, I make 1 bed a week, maybe 2 beds a week, and then the space became so much different that it
Yeah.
was now impossible to ignore. So then my neighbor who used to stand every day, he was just watching me every day from the stairs and looking at me working. And then when he started seeing, yo, bro, I can actually see what you're busy with here. Is it fine if I help you? So I'm like, yeah, bro, come on. That's exactly what I need. So
Mm.
we continued and we continued together with Tanitasha, and we decided, you know what, let's completely not only grow where there used to be a dump, because now people will come and dump right next to where we're not cultivating.
Mm. Mm.
So let us try and see if we can completely cover the space right in front of the flats, so that we can actually make sure that dumping doesn't get to the space ever again. And then
Absolutely.
it took some while, it took some time to speak to the city council and find out how we can actually get permission to use the space completely. And then
Mm.
eventually, thankful to our city council, we managed to actually get the permission on paper to use the space and to
Mm-hmm.
start a community garden. And then we started buying fencing. We closed up the space completely. And now, with no resources, it was the toughest thing,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
there's no food for anyone. I say, someone come and help me to work. We work together the whole day. We don't. There's nothing to give at the end of the day. And then sometimes we used to have a sponsorship where some spa used to give us of their yesterdays. So some days would be better where we could get some rolls and some Chelsea buns and things, just for the people who come to help voluntarily, because some people, when you're out on the streets, the gangsterism and all the bad things stems from a hungry stomach.
Yeah.
Sometimes a hungry stomach can be a foundation of a criminal or a successful millionaire. So
Mm-hmm.
a hungry stomach is a good point to see where this whole thing started. We need
Mm-hmm.
to eradicate the hunger. So there's even a saying that says a hungry man is an angry man.
Yeah.
So what if someone once was so hungry that they decided to live a gangsterism life, and even now they're not hungry anymore. They're gonna stay there just for the fear of not becoming hungry anymore. You know,
Okay.
so
Okay.
tackling all these issues and saying let's grow enough food for everyone. Let's eradicate the hunger, so that when we are all fed, we can think consciously. We can all be in a space where at least we can have many other problems. As long as food is not one, we can start thinking about
Mm-hmm.
the next solution. So through eradicating a dumping site and growing food there,
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
the feeding scheme now directly knows that whether we get sponsorships or not, we can be self-sustainable in that aspect. It also empowered us as a community now to have young people coming in to learn about farming, to learn about how to grow their own food, and also start their own ventures at home so that they can save some money. And then our fruit and vegetables in the garden, we
Okay.
sell to the community at affordable prices, and also to keep
Okay,
our
David.
farming
Yeah,
projects
I,
sustainable.
I'd like us to take a break because I do want to ask you about, the skills development element of this. Teaching young people new skills, and because a lot of what you're doing is also, like I'd mentioned, community organization work, but you really are conscientizing people to think differently about how they do things, which is so important. David Timothy Zacheus has founded what is no longer something that can be imagined. He's now doing it. He's founded an initiative known as Food for the Hood Community Farming Project. We continue the conversation afterwards.
Let the drums guide you through Amapiano energy and jazz sophistication on Jemba Vibes.
Somi Grammy-nominated jazz voice, Rwandan and Ugandan roots, born in the U.S. but claimed by the African continent. But she's also honored Africa's Miriam Makeba. I'm South African. I can't talk to you without speaking about Ginger Me Slowly. In fact, that song has brought so much pressure on us South African men and how to treat our women.
It's not a song that I don't want to sing, but there are times when I feel like maybe I want to have a set that's a little more like, I don't know, that's sort of brewing in other emotional spaces. I still feel like, oh, but I should do Ginger Me Slowly. It's kind of a joke now with my band. I love that it's a love song that people want to hear and that it occupies a kind of warm energy center for me.
Feel the heartbeat of the African continent. Afro beats, jazz grooves, and dancehall fire unite on Jemba Vibes. Sunday, 9 p.m. till 12 a.m. Central African Time. Only on Channel Africa, the African perspective. You like what we do on Channel Africa? Then follow us on our socials. Channel Africa 1 on all social pages. And get the African perspective. The Journal with Mmatsheko Mosito.
All right, 25 minutes, 26 minutes. It's just gone after 10 a.m. in Central African Time. Still in conversation with David Timothy Zacheus, founder of the Food for the Hood Community Farming Project. They're based in Eldorado Park, which is a township that is now thriving and producing young people that are thinking differently about township life, that it can thrive, that it can produce people that are thinkers and doers in meaningful ways. And it's been so wonderful to learn from you, David, in terms of how you are also bringing other people along on this journey. So let's talk about how this initiative has now taught young people other skills, like how to farm, how to be entrepreneurs, how to feed themselves.
So what I always tell people who works with me, like every crop is an income stream. So if you can master one crop, everyone doesn't have to learn everything. So some people they have the option to come in and learn about making fertilizers, and that can be an industry on its own that can empower you to start your own business. You can come and learn to study the soil. You can come to learn how to just master chilies or just any specific crop. So the possibilities for anyone walking in here is endless. And because we help each other and we empower each other with knowledge that comes along in our families and from our grandfathers, there's so much knowledge and experience that we've gained through experimenting. So the powerful thing is there's been more than 20 groups, 20 members per group coming in to learn about how to make beds, how to farm, what needs to be planted in specific seasons. And these teams have now managed to go and start a garden in a school called Eldridge Primary School, and also the old age village on their other voluntarily ventures. So what they've learned now is also spreading out to different areas of the community where we can actually see people are turning to the soil. People are turning to solutions that we've always just been looking at. And that to me is really liberating because now more people can start taking initiative on their own ideas. Some people can be the ones who build the structures for our plants to climb on. Not everyone has an interest to specifically grow the food, but others just wants to make a nice design with the stones. Some people, as you can see on our page, you'll see our pathways got nice arches and stones. Some guy came and said, I know where to get these reeds and I will go and fetch it out. And you just tell me how much you need. So everyone came and showed what they are willing to do. And so many times we try and force people into positions and saying, yeah, you're lazy, you don't want to do this. But we never give people a chance to come out and say what they are willing to do voluntarily, like anytime, that they just love doing it. So if you can place, the more we place people in positions that they voluntarily take on, the more the work will be easier. And that's what I've managed to achieve. I didn't try and force anyone to come and do a job that they're not comfortable in doing. If you don't like watering the garden, what do you like doing? Would you like to maybe learn how to plant seedlings? Would you like to maybe learn how to? And then everyone finds their space. So it's a breeding ground for everyone to find themselves, to just come and be themselves, and to learn and upskill yourself. And
Nice one.
there's been a lot of different ventures that respond from this very one thing only.
Okay, very, very well done, David. If we want to find the project, maybe we want to contribute by means of giving resources or to come and buy, your fresh produce, which is so beautifully and heartily produced. Where can we find you?
So we are available on also all social media platforms at Food for the Hood Community Farming Project. That is Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. And you can send us an email at foodforthehoodcommunity@gmail.com. Um, our WhatsApp number is also 062 040 9665. You can make direct contact with us and let us know what it is you can sponsor or help us out with. Like one of our biggest challenges right now is only like transportation
Yeah.
and infrastructure regarding our irrigation. So for people to, whatever it is that you have or you want to come and visit our site, we are at 30 Bohemia Street, Eldorado Park, extension 3.
Right.
Also on our social media platforms, you can get the pins and directions to coming out to us. So we're not, like you've seen, we've done most of our work without governmental stipends or any funding. So we're not people who's more about asking just money or anything. Once we can get our infrastructure sorted out, this project is definitely something that can make all the money that we need and keep our community sustainable. So if it's not money you can help us with, maybe just like a post or share a post or just
Nice one.
tell more
Yeah,
people
yeah.
about us, and that can definitely push us forward.
Okay, David, thank you so much, man. All the best going forward. I think you've started something really amazing and you're going to influence other communities to do the same. David Timothy Zacheus, founder of Food for the Hood Community Farming Project, and you can find them online if you would like to find out more and assist or purchase the fresh produce, which is so beautifully produced. 10:31, we check in with the latest in sports. Figilele Nwati standing by.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
First up is rugby news. The defending champion Junior Springboks booked a place in the Junior World Championship final after a thrilling 53-37 victory over England in Tbilisi yesterday. Winger Kutajo Rasibanga starred with a hat-trick, while fly half Yakim Ahmed contributed 23 points as South Africa ran in 7 tries. The Junior Boks overturned a 2012 halftime deficit, capitalizing after England flanker Seb Kelly was sent off for a headbutt. South Africa seized control in the second half with Rashibanga completing his treble and Kibotile Make crossing twice. Ahmed's long-range penalty sealed the half-century as England's late rally fell short. The Junior Boks will face France in Saturday's decider after Le Bleu edged New Zealand 26-22 in the other semi-final. On to cricket news. South Africa under-19 women captain Mickey van Voorst expressed her team's excitement ahead of the first ever Youth T20 International tour to Pakistan, where they will take on the host in a